You and I have both been there, so I'm like,
I can take that.
Mr. Robinson, ready?
Thank you, sir.
That was funny.
I needed that.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I won't worry about it. If I need one, I'll shoot off Georgia. That's it.
Sit up.
Oh,
Don't say
oh, fun.
It's dark over here.
It's,
Here, what do you?
oh, yeah, I don't know.
And it's
Thank
dark
you.
in here.
Winter.
It feels like the air conditioner's on.
Good.
Here it is. It's on. He's in some delays.
As soon as that gets back, we'll. All right, the time is 6:04. This meeting of the Fernbluff Municipal Utility District Board of Directors is called to order. Roll call of directors. All directors are present and accounted for. Director Stemko, would you like to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance today?
I pledge allegiance
To the flag
of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Director Stemko. Before we get to citizens communications, I see Jack Garner's here. So let's go ahead and jump to the landscape maintenance portion of the meeting, please.
Appreciate that. Since our last meeting, the playscape mulch that was approved at last meeting has been installed in all the playscape areas and all the parks. Maintenance visits from here on out until fall will continue weekly. Right now, the crew's mainly dealing with a leaf drop, so that started just in time for us to go back to weekly service, so that's good timing. Fernbluff Park renovations that were approved at the meeting will be completed here in the next 7 to 10 days. I anticipate the fence will be completed this week. Really good, big improvement there. You have a chance to go to Fernbluff Park and check out the fence place there. Not really woodworkers, but good job. So irrigation checks for all the parks are going to be performed this week, maybe just a little bit. And we will generate a report and get that. We're going to start increasing the watering. Everything's starting to break dormancy right now, so We anticipate the first turf fertilization happening later in March or early April, depending on weather. I anticipate the first round of pre-emergent for sports fields and to be applied later this month. It's kind of all weather dependent. And mounds will start to creep up after some rains. We're treating all of those with mound control until we put our application in the spring to be able to walk that. And then we will populate the hillside gardens over at Olson Meadows that we were working on. We'll get to that when the nursery stock becomes available. It's starting to trickle in right now, so I anticipate another month or so before all of the good plants start coming in. And on that note, the annuals also on all the park signs and here at the community center. Hopefully we'll be able to get those at the end of this month, but again, just kind of depends on your stock that's available. All in all, the parks look great. They're primed, ready for spring. Starting to see a lot of the perennial plant material break dormant right now. Starting to see a little bit of grass green up, so we're really just kind of starting to ease into greening up, and spring finally starting to here. We'll monitor the grassy weeds that I've started to see a little bit come up in the last 2 weeks or so, some of the areas. So I'll be putting down a post-emergent as soon as the weather allows for that. That'll get us through. Basically monitoring the ants and the weeds and waiting for the nursery stock to become available to finish up Olson Meadows and other areas. But yeah, all in all, really primed and ready for spring. Everything's looking good. Just dealing with that.
A few of the shrubs that we replaced last year after the big freeze, gotten some freeze damage on the leaves. They look like they're fine to me. Here and at some of the parks, do they look like they're going to be fine?
They should be.
Okay, good.
Anticipate them. I don't think we've had enough of long enough
Had
this
those,
year.
what was it, 3 days? And I was like, oh, no.
Yeah, I mean, it could be a compounding factor from last year to this year, but if it's stuff that we replaced after last year's freeze, I don't anticipate that being an issue. Some of them might have some leaf damage on them, but we can turn that back here when it's going, they start to really grow. We'll do all those kind of cutbacks and everything. Really, when it starts to really grow, we can go utilize them. So I don't anticipate there to be.
Thought they looked okay.
And if there is, if we planted them last year and there is, we'll replace them. Yeah, y'all can check it.
It's very nice and it's very sturdy.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, so people were asking why we were replacing it. Well, old one was made with landscape timbers and was rotting from it.
Yeah.
So this one should last as well.
Very nice.
Okay, Mark, I'll start working on some sort of a newsletter here for springtime.
Perfect.
And get another one out there.
That'd be great.
Start working on that. All right, any other questions?
We've got one more freeze left in us, you think? And
I
then
think that's it. I hope that's it.
Depends on which station you listen to.
That's true.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this
there might be one
is a late one. The one last year that really did all the damage. A lot of the leaves that started to come out on the ash trees. The red buds were in full bloom when that happened, so that's just now kind of started. So we're two or 3 weeks behind last year. So I think it's going to be a late spring.
have we even seen any bluebonnet action yet? I mean, I haven't been out around.
I
haven't
actually just drove back from Clear Lake this weekend, and I started to see a few small little patches on the highways. They usually come out earlier than the ones that are kind of in areas like, again, full on wallflower action 6 weeks away.
Okay.
But out there in Lopton, there's a bunch of little ones that are coming up. Just gonna have to wait on.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank y'all. We appreciate it.
Appreciate it. All right. Let's go ahead and do citizens communication. I have 4 yellow slips. So just a reminder, each speaker gets 2 minutes. I'll hold up a yellow sheet of paper once there's 30 seconds in your time remaining, so you can wrap it up. Get to the 2-minute mark and not about to finish, I'll let you know. And this is your chance for the board to hear your concerns. Not an interactive session, but it's a chance for you to speak on any topic you want to we here on the board, we're limited to what's on the agenda as to what we can deliberate on. So some of you may have concerns that we're just not even set up to talk about tonight. So, but you can. So first speaker tonight is Wendy Martinez. Whenever you're ready.
Hello everyone, my name is Wendy Martinez. I live on Klamath Falls. I was reviewing the landscaping expenses for 2021 and I noticed there was a difference in what was paid to Texas Lawn and Garden and what was reported on the landscaping account on the monthly financial statements. For instance, in May, the total paid to Texas Lawn and Garden was $52,267.67. However, the profit and loss report total for the landscaping account that month was $27,263. In June, they were issued a payment of $30,554.87, but the total amount on the profit and loss statement remains the same, $27,263. In July, they were issued a payment of $30,960.17, but the report reflects the same amount, $27,263. I did request a couple invoices, and what I could tell was most of the work performed was for landscaping, aside from small irrigation repair. It appears every month in 2021 the landscaping expense was over budget, but the P&Ls don't reflect that. I'm wondering if the budget committee could explain why that is, and I will follow up with an email. I also wanted to mention in the January violations report from Sage Management, there were some pictures that were taken of a resident's backyard. The violation was for open storage. Not only is this an invasion of privacy, but open storage is not a deed restriction violation. Fences exist for a reason, respect our privacy. This is exactly the reason why the community was upset about the month's attempt to implement a fine scheme. So now we're going to threaten a neighbor with fines for leaving their storage open in their backyard. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Martinez. Appreciate it. Next up, I've got Lonnie Robinson, please.
My name is Lonnie Robinson, and I've been a resident of Fernbluff since 1993. And just up here today, trying to get an update on the public meeting for the purchase of parkland by the city of Fernbluff. I haven't heard anything about it, whether anything's been posted or whether it's already occurred, or just trying to figure out what's going on. It appears that the warranty deed says that the property is conveyed for the purpose of park recreational purposes. Any improvements made on the property are also for park and recreational purposes, which would seem to be in conflict with building infrastructure for part of the roadway. The other thing is, I don't know, there hadn't been any kind of benefit identified for the mud, so I don't know why the mud would want to give on land, sell on land, or do anything for it. Still haven't heard any responses back from questions that the board members had for the city. A lot of the questions I had for the city, they hadn't been answered, or they were, I don't want to say snarky, but they didn't seem quite honest. They seemed to, in some cases, even conflict with the transportation plan, so I'm not sure what's going on there with that. But the city has not clearly shown a benefit for this $20 million project. And I just think that we need to sit down and talk with these guys, get some answers. I'd like to sit down and discuss some of these details that I looked at on here. Can't do it in 2 minutes. So I'd like to be able to somehow talk to you guys. I don't know how we go about doing that, but I think that's important. Y'all actually hear some of the details about what's going on. Got other things I'd like to talk to you about. George, I sent you an email about that. Hope we can get together and talk about some of it. But there needs to be further discussion with this board and with the city to get some real answers. Anyway, that's about it.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Robinson. Appreciate it very much. All right, next speaker I have up is Mr. Sean Moore on the topic of speed bumps.
You got support? Several supporters. Good afternoon.
Good evening, sir.
Thank you for having me. Yes, I'm Sean Moore. I live on the corner of Park Valley, Broken Branch Drive, right on the corner. For 21 years now. We moved, my family and I moved there in 2000. Bought it in 99. My daughters went to Fernbluff Elementary, to the left about 200 yards. I was there before, I think it's Memorial Park, right in front of me, 20 paces. And then to the right of me is a Park Valley retirement home. So I've seen growth in that area. Homes really weren't built, but I think because of the COVID, there's just a lot of people that stay at home. There's a lot of traffic, and they just run through the stop sign constantly. And that's from the time that I moved in. Now I've come and requested, not to this board, but I've requested speed bump. And I was told I had to get signatures, petitions, at least, I can't remember, 2,000 or 200. And really, I don't think I need it. Because it's a threat. It's a threat. I've had a car hit. There's a stop sign on both sides. And I'm passing.
No, you get 30 seconds.
Okay. Either way, I've priced out the cost of speed bumps. There's ways to do it. I don't know labor cost. But to put on the record, and my neighbor will support me, I'm looking for action. Somebody's gonna be really hurt. Okay. My time, or I have more time?
That's it, actually.
Okay.
Thank you for representing.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Moore. Much appreciated. I've got two more. I have five tonight, not four. Trina Deshawn, you are next, please.
Hello, my name is Trina Deshawn. I'm at 8344 McCann Drive. I'm going to talk just a little bit about the Sage Report contract that we have with the deed restrictions, just for the Fernbluff neighborhood. As for that report every month, under the FOIA request, I have to get it. So this month, they charged us for 44 photos. I got 40 photos. Maybe all of them didn't come through. Also got 22 trash can violations on that. They come around on a Tuesday. So Monday our trash goes out, Tuesday they come by. Maybe if we push that to Thursday, maybe some people will have their trash cans in. We have to short them out of town to get people, it might save us a little bit of money. 2 car cover violations, 5 window AC violations, 1 unregistered car, and 1 open storage and maintenance issue. So there was, again, charge for 44 photos. Sage is charging us $2 per photo. Contract says $1 per photo. I don't know how long that goes back where they've been not charging correctly. That's what the contract says, so whoever's in charge of that probably needs to go back and look and see what if there's something messed up about that. The contract does state $1 per picture. So I think if we give them less reason to take pictures, maybe they wouldn't take so. I'm just asking for our residents, if maybe we can move that date back, give our residents a little bit more time to get their trash cans inside. I don't think it's a big ask. Thank you.
Thank you. Much appreciated. And the last one I have is Dennis Cheney, or Cheney? Cheney. Thank you, sir. Whenever you're ready.
Thank you. My name is Dennis Cheney. I live on Montreux Drive. Neighbor of Sean and a resident. I have 2 issues I'd like to bring up regarding safety. One is we recognize that the Pressure Creek Trail system greatly appreciated, even more so during. I would like to point out, though, that the trailhead at the Oak Brook Trailhead at O'Connor Drive, or been washed out for more than a year. That's a really serious tripping hazard. There are also iron stakes that are protruding above, as well as bare rock timbers that are, instead of steps, are now. If you could please take immediate action, bring out or maybe even just closing it off. The other point I'd like to make is to also support Sean. In particular, I want to point out the 3 intersections that are routinely run by your motorists that I have witnessed. One is at Park Valley and Broken Branch, which is right opposite where Park Valley Drive and Persimmon Spring, right at the playground area, the opposite end of the school, the tennis court area. The third one is at Broken Branch Drive and Mount Falls Drive. Just 1 block, I guess, west of. I would recommend speed humps, and I point out that Austin has implemented these in at least 3. One is Delphi Drive, or Delphi Lane, in Palmer Lane and Amherst Drive. I've also seen them on Duval Street or Grill, and also where you enter the northbound OPEC from 45th Street, they're called Island Terrace. And those neighborhoods effectively put in speed humps that limit your speed about 25 miles an hour comfortably. If you go any further beyond that, you're going to get quite a bump. Okay? But it's not like a traditional speed bump that you encounter in the parking lot. You have to slow down over 5 months. Quite. That's all.
Thank you, sir. Much appreciated, Mr. King. All right. Very good. Cindy, do we have Director Commissioner Covey yet, or no? No? Okay. No. Bump that for now. Do you have any items to be removed from the consent agenda?
Yes, I do. I need to remove check number 2746 from last month. It was written to Q for our annual regulatory assessment. We were off by $3.73, so we are reissuing that check, and it is in your check register. Avoiding the 2746 and reissued on 2769.
All right, accepting the 1 check. Everything else on the consent agenda is good. A motion to approve the consent agenda.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Director Stemko, seconded by Director Barnes. All in favor of passing the consent agenda? Unanimous 5-0. Accepting the 1 check. Let's go to item number 9, new business on the MS4. Mr. Operator, what do we got?
MS4, his annual report has been completed and submitted.
Excellent.
We're done for the year, at least on the reporting.
1 year done, faculty in next year.
Yes, sir.
Very good. Let's go to item number 10, matters related to the May 7th director's election.
I'll jump on this. It's not yet. Directors, this is a standard contract. The county each time. For us. Standard. Nothing different. Or nothing.
What do we need to execute it
Just need a motion to enter into the contract and
before we do that? They specify in the contract the locations, or is that?
yeah, so that would be to be determined. I believe that they.
Okay, so. All right, do I have a motion to accept the contract for election services?
I'll make that
Motion from Director Smith. Motion seconded by Director Stemko to approve the contract for election services in agreement with Williamson County. All in favor? Motion passes 5-0. Go to next week then. That'll be all right. Williamson County Road and Bridge. Mr. General Manager, do you have anything for us new?
I do. On 11C, there was a change. What is in your packet and what was posted as far as the agenda. On C, that should say the city rather than the county. Wyoming Drive Extension is actually a city project. As far as updates, bridge is going well. Seem to be moving along fairly quickly. There is an issue right now with the Brush Creek Regional Wastewater System. There's some I&I that is causing very high numbers to flow from the plant from this area. Round Rock manages that plant. They manage the whole regional system. So they're trying to find out, could this be, a busted pipe, because the pipes come down from Cedar Park, it's all in this area. The question that I heard then I think on Friday was, could it be related to the Great Oaks Bridge project? Brush Creek Mud has sewer lines there. We have sewer lines there. We have no evidence at this point that it is us. But again, we're not doing the construction, but they're looking for it. We haven't seen anything as far as the creek goes. It's just a big question, but that's the one big question that's come up. Which project? I think that's my update.
Seems like they're moving pretty quick on it. They've got kind of like the bridge faces and columns.
They are. I will say that closing down Harryman and using Creek Bend and Brightwater for the detour has really increased traffic in this area. I have requested additional patrols in this area, very specifically in this area during school time, after school when the pickup happens, as well as in the front of the school. Some of our residents actually brought it up earlier. For some reason, Park Valley is just one of those streets that people just do not adhere to the stop signs. It's like they're not even there, So, but the same thing is happening on Brightwater, and that's a school crossing.
Now, you told us before, if I remember right, that the city is reluctant to put in speed bumps because of EMS and fire vehicles. Is that typically true?
All of our streets, we don't control our streets. They're not owned by the MUD. They're owned and maintained by Williamson County. So speed bumps or any alterations to the roadways within our district would have to be approved, managed, whatever, by Williamson County, because Williamson County owns them all. Even Wyoming Springs here, they own from the intersection at Creek Bend to Cloud Peak, and then Cloud Peak to 620 is owned by the city. So we have looked at this before. We've spoken to the county before about, speed bumps either on Brightwater or on Park Valley. I mean, I don't think it's anything that our MUD would be against, except that, we drive them, but
Right.
I'm fine. I'll go to 25. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, we get them at HEB when we're there every week.
Well, that's exactly right. But Williamson County would have to approve them and they would have to install them. From my understanding, I mean, unless something has changed, Zach would know that. They own the streets. So if there is consensus and the board really wants us to look into this, I will be happy to talk with and see what I can do with the Commissioner's Court. We just have a brand new commissioner for our district since we changed.
Right.
Commissioner.
Are we precinct 1 now? Is that?
We're precinct 3.
Precinct 3 now.
Yes, and our new commissioner is Valerie Covey. She was gonna be here tonight. I don't know if something has happened. I haven't gotten an email or anything, so maybe she's just arriving late. But she's who we would start with
Okay.
as far as,
Any kind of traffic remediation device.
that's right. Oh, I guess I should talk about the fact that, I sent this out to all of you. One of the big concerns has been, Wyoming Springs and the traffic that's there. And Jessica could probably speak to that as far as Smyers Lane.
We've been working with the commissioners because of all the problems at Smyers Lane. So many accidents, so many traffic problems. They can't put a red light there. We asked for a dedicated left turn lane
To get into the Walgreens.
to get into Walgreens.
From Wyoming Springs.
From Wyoming Springs. And we also had a few residents that addressed the county and we're gonna get it. They're gonna do it.
That's gonna happen.
It's going to happen.
That's great.
They're going to start in spring. It's a 2 to 3 month project, and they're going to notify us when they start.
Hey, good
So,
work. Outstanding.
It's a start. I don't know. That whole intersection's,
I think we've listened to Janie complain about that intersection. Between 6 and 12 times a year.
No, that's exactly right, because that is the number one complaint I get from our residents. That is what people have the biggest issues with, and it's because it goes down to one lane, you know, all of those things. This is something that the city promised us when they were building Creek Bend. Okay, so now we're getting it.
And they're still for us. Now the county's
they're
Yes.
they're
gonna push it.
responding.
Okay, awesome. That is great work.
I think that on that same note, I think that that's actually kind of promising as far as getting some more safety features in the neighborhood too. Because if they're open to listen to something like that, then I think that if we go to the commissioner's court, I think that we can probably get, or at least give it a good
Good try.
try to get those speed bumps, to get some safety in there. So,
We have worked with them in the past, and they have been very reluctant to do it. I don't think it means we stop, but we have made requests since I've been here, and I think we bring it up. But I would encourage citizens to also contact the county because they listen to voters.
Excellent. Excellent.
In front of the school is going to be a huge issue, and I can just tell you from the conversations that we had before, back when Lisa Berkman was our commissioner, Terry Cook, having speed bumps with school buses and as an entrance, because Park Valley is the main entrance to that area of the subdivision, there's no other access. It really does come down to the emergency vehicles. Y'all brought up the fact that Austin's done it, and that is correct. Austin has done that within their city limits.
And they've done other remediation things also. I know on, I think it's on Rio Grande, they put in some traffic circles. Now, you couldn't do that at Broken Branch and Park Valley, and you'd need some space, and they're really kind of tiny traffic circles, they're almost too small. But
Right.
they're open to experiment with stuff like that. So they've done other stuff besides speed bumps. So there's more than one way to tackle the problem, depending on the geography.
No, that's right.
And intersection.
Our problem is that it's just our subdivision, you know, one of the things that I would recommend is that we just start an absolute, you know, campaign within the district, because quite frankly, these are our residents. I mean, we all need to sort of police one another, if you know what I'm saying, and we as the residents that live here, we need to slow down, and we need to be conscious of it. Persimmon Springs, 100%, and Broken Branch, those are the two, I see more people running stop signs than anywhere in the district, which is odd to me because it's right there in front of the school, you know. But maybe we just try to get the information out there and encourage people to abide by them.
well, also on that note, because I know a lot of people don't just abide by our suggestions, but, you know, with a little bit of influence from maybe some law enforcement, I mean, are we gonna be able to possibly get some more deputies in the area to patrol, especially around the school?
I've requested, and I don't know, I've seen them there, you know, it's just a matter of how many they have available. One of the things that I think we as a district should do, and our residents should do as county taxpayers, because everybody that lives here pays county taxes as well. Williamson County is a very fast-growing county, and our law enforcement division, this is my opinion, our law enforcement division is not healthy enough. We don't, as a county, we don't pay enough high enough salaries to keep deputies, and we don't have enough deputies for a county our size. So I think we need to really encourage our commissioners to start looking at that budget and increase, you know, the law enforcement budget. That's what I do, and I think maybe this MUD could request it too. We're paying for after hours. We're to the tune of, you know, $5,000 to $6,000 a month sometimes. And some of that should just be part of normal patrols on the county's time, because this after hours is on MUD time, 100%.
Yeah, ideally, we shouldn't have to pay for that and have a separate contract to get increased patrols
No.
through here.
And
But we do
Williamson
that for
County's,
the benefit of our residents.
that's exactly right. And with all of the car break-ins that are going on, it's really bad. And so what I try to do with our sheriff liaison is when I start hearing about things in the neighborhood, I try to, you know, kind of point them that direction. Like Oak Brook, it starts getting a lot of vandalism and such, then I ask them, okay, try to concentrate the next month or two on Oak Brook to see if just the presence helps. But this last month, I really requested the school patrols. It's really bad on Brightwater, and it's really bad on Park Valley.
All right, well, let's keep that up through May and then until
Okay.
school's out. If it's that bad. No, you're right, with the shutdown of Harryman, I'm sure there's increased traffic on Brightwater and Park Valley. Very good. All right, so that's it for roads, I take it?
Yes.
All right. Well, let's just go ahead and jump right into the general manager's report and operations also.
Well, you have my report. I don't really have much other than that. As Jack said, we're going into spring for whatever reason. This is the time of year that graffiti just begins to take over, and it seems, you know, we're kind of in a hot button time right now. They're hitting a lot of our drainage ditches and such. We try to respond, you know, within 24 hours, once we find it, to just kind of take the joy out of it. But, you know, that wasn't the right way to say that, but I don't know. I'm also turning over pictures of every instance we have of graffiti to the sheriff's department, because it seems to be, you know, it's kind of a signature. And hopefully if someone's doing it in our district and they're using the same signature in another MUD, perhaps someone will be apprehended and they'll be held accountable for all of the areas because of the art.
Good.
If you don't mind, I've got a comment. We filed a report with the sheriff's office about vandalism in Oak Brook. We've got a detective on it. They put a photo out, we have video we haven't found him yet, it's been weeks now. But if you want any of the videos or some of the pictures of the vandalism in Oak Brook, let me know.
That would be great.
Or I'll just, because they've got all the video, I can just give you the case number.
Okay, that sounds good. And our officers are really good. When they get a request from us like that, they don't just drive, you know, in their car everywhere. They get out and they walk the areas. They, you know.
And that's our request, right?
That is our request, that's exactly right, you know, because you can't see all these areas just from the vehicle, you know. If
So
you
they'll
see
go up to the park pavilion or something, they'll walk up there and take a look.
Absolutely, absolutely, especially on the night patrols, they want to make sure that, you know, people are leaving the parks, you know, at the right times and that type of thing. If you see a police officer just sitting somewhere, it looks like he's not really doing very much, he's probably doing something.
Probably writing a report.
That's exactly right. And you will see them frequently sitting at Brightwater. Park, because it's right there at Brightwater and Sea Action. It's a very notorious stop sign that they run. So yeah, graffiti, if y'all see it anywhere, please let me know as soon as possible. Our guys are out all the time, but they do not hit every square inch of this mud every day. It's impossible, we're too
I
big.
know we got at least one report of it to us on the graffiti, which is great. I mean, the residents are great.
Yeah.
Go ahead and let you know about that so we can get it cleaned up and make a report to the sheriff's office.
Well, and it kind of
We got
brings up
great
the point,
residents.
no, that's one of the reasons that we don't allow sidewalk chalk at the parks. I know a lot of parents get a little upset about that, but we used to allow it, and then sidewalk chalk became the charcoal from the barbecue pits, and then that became vandalism. So, you know, they see something nice, like, oh, this is great, you know, and it just sort of escalates from there. So, you know, we're really trying to protect the mud's assets, we're not trying to be difficult, but, yeah, that's how it rolls. But that's pretty much what I have. Do y'all have any questions for me?
AT&T, we've got some issues with contractors. Do you mind just addressing that?
I don't mind addressing that. I'll try to. We've tried very hard to work with AT&T. They've not been terribly kind to our residents. Unfortunately, there's not a lot that we can do about that because one utility has no authority over another utility. I think we talked about this at the last meeting. We try our very best to, you know, hey, you guys, you're blocking a whole street, move your trucks, you know, do those types of things. And then one of our wonderful Oak Brook residents was over in the Oak Brook Trail area and was on the opposite side of where the actual trail is, and emailed me right away, and there is some serious, and they call it illicit discharge. They've been taking their tanks as they're doing the boring, and they've been dumping it at the back of one of our green belts. We also found some in our storm drains.
Doesn't help us on the MS4, I think.
No, but the good thing about our MS board allows us to fine. So, tried to work with the supervisor when we first found it in Oak Brook and said, whoa, these are your guys. So of course, contractors, it's always somebody else's fault, you know. How do you know it was us? It's someone, are you kidding me? They drove across Brushy Creek lot to get to the back of our green belt. Nobody else in our neighborhood has been doing this type of work at all. So we tried to work the system, got absolutely nowhere, okay? So I've just been working up the system at AT&T and just bombarding them with pictures. I have filed a complaint with the TCEQ about this illicit discharge. That order that the board passed about illegal dumping, that gives us great flexibility as far as our fines go, our MS4 permit. They have seriously violated our storm drain system. So yeah, we have a problem. We're managing it.
Okay.
It's not gonna be quick.
Right.
And the way I left it with the Austin area manager was, I need a plan of action, I need a cleanup, and I need it done by the end of this week, or our people will clean it up, and it won't be cheap. It just won't be cheap.
As far as I'm concerned, you know, not just charging for the cleanup, but we can hit them with fines. Remember, we've adopted all the laws of the state of Texas as well as the district, and we can issue fines for that. We rescinded an order that did that for, you know, deed restrictions, but we left in force the portions that did damage to the district and district property. So my inclination is if you can't negotiate something with these people on the cleanup, I'm more than willing to put a vote up here as to, you know, issuing a fine to them for every instance that it happened.
Our MS4 allows for $250 a day.
Okay. Oh, that's pretty punitive.
That's punitive. And
For
our,
instance.
per instance. There you
Per
go.
instance per day.
Yes. It's just defeating to see that over there at the back of the greenbelt. I mean, it just looks like this whole little trail of white chemical snow that is just really awful. And it's in a wooded area, so, you know, we can't just take our backhoe back there and start cleaning it up because the backhoe won't fit. You know, we're gonna need a smaller machine, and it'll be a lot of work if we wind up doing it ourselves. We're not the only one this happens to. This AT&T is notorious for doing this. So is Google. I mean, that's just what they do. And the contractors, I think they feel like they're a little bit, what's the word I want? They can just keep pointing their finger. It wasn't us, it was this one, it was this one. And I made it very clear to AT&T, I don't care what contractor did it. The contractors are working for you. It's AT&T's responsibility.
I agree.
We are holding you responsible for it. If one of our contractors did something wrong, this mud would be held accountable. So, yeah, that's where we are.
Can you describe the location again?
Yes, do you know where Stonebridge is in Brushy Creek?
Mhm.
The street?
Mhm.
You come off of Great Oaks Hillside, you can get to it two ways. Brushy Creek has kind of a open lot there with just
That's where the old water tower was?
a
Okay.
with a building. And so what they did is
Across from the Brushy Creek Elementary School, okay.
yeah. So they just went across the lot to get back to the back edge of our green belt.
It's across the street in O'Connor on the west side of, the west end of Oak Brook. A couple of cul-de-sacs behind there.
It's kind of right across from Trowbridge. If that helps. Where Trowbridge is, cross the green belt, it's over there. It's on the opposite side. So, yeah.
Okay, well, you keep us apprised.
I
'cause
will.
If they will not play ball, I'm willing to, willing to make a motion that
I want them fined anyway.
We will,
we can.
Zach and I will have a deep conversation about this, as to what all we can assess, what we can do. I am giving them to the end of the week. I will say, as soon as I started bombarding them with pictures, the area manager had no idea of this project, okay?
So they changed their tune, they started changing their.
Well, it was so glaringly obvious. I mean, to get to my house, you have to turn on Gunnison Springs and then make a left into Tad Park, which is where I live. Well, for whatever reason, Gunnison Springs just became their storage area. There were just empty reel after empty reel after empty reel, and all of this equipment was there. And when I sent those pictures, I said, this is how your contractors are treating our residents. That homeowner at that corner had just put in new sod, and you're just, it may be in an easement, but you are not treating our residents right. And so I just sent them a whole bunch of pictures. I will say this, within 4 days, all of that was gone off of Gunnison. They started cleaning up some of the other areas too, but it's very difficult dealing with a big utility like this. They pretty much do what they want to do, you know. I did have the conversation that we gave them an easement to our greenbelt up on Cheatham, and that, you know, we really were trying to play ball. We were trying to help take care of our residents, and that was a goodwill gesture on our part to give them that easement. And basically, we've just sort of been spit on, and I did use that word, sorry. You're laughing. Well, that's how it felt. We had just done the easement, and then all of a sudden, this is happening. I have no idea what the cleanup and our storm drains will entail. I don't know,
To be determined, yeah.
to be determined.
But y'all are on it. And since we self-reported TCEQ, they know what's going on, so it's not being swept under the rug or anything.
No.
It's right out there in the open, which is
Yeah.
good. Okay. Anyone else have any questions on that?
Prior to issuing any fines or anything, we'll try to, you know, we'll bring a packet to the district, to the board of directors, and let y'all know everything that's gone on, and then y'all will take action on what you want to do, if you want to increase it, what we're allowed to do by legal and whatever.
Okay. Fair enough.
All right.
Mr.
Sorry.
Operator, do you have anything else to add about
So on top of that.
anything in your purview?
Yeah, this last month has been just a lot of AT&T regulatory reporting, EPA, TCEQ, NS4, blah, blah, blah. I mean, just, it's been quite interesting. And then technology has just been, I keep my hair short just so I don't pull it out. But yeah, it's been interesting. We're working on video. We're working on the sound system. I apologize for flipping the room like this. That's last minute decision. Our sound system is just not sending very good sound to this side of the room. So I figured, for the benefit of our residents, so they can hear what's going on, we just kind of flip it around, because we do have sound in the smaller room. So yeah, working towards getting it all squared away. Trying to find our.
So when you're talking about video, you're talking about the capability to record meetings of the board of directors and then possibly even streaming them live?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, all the hardware is in place. We've run 500-600 feet of new cabling. But yeah, the whole thing about video, we normally host training sessions for water utility operators, and just any kind of training that we can get. It works out pretty good for our staff, because we get free training in it. But last week, 2 weeks ago, we actually hosted a training session that was in person, live in person, and a Zoom meeting as well. So it kind of worked out fairly well. I mean, it's the first time we've ever done it here. We learned a couple things from there, but yeah, I'm thinking just to jump on that bandwagon of upgrading our technology and having new capabilities, then we'll have cameras and we'll be able to do the live stream kind of thing.
And make sure it's robust, because if we're gonna record it, you don't want any glitches. Even if something you can trust, we capture everything.
I didn't want to go out and just buy a computer, so in good old Fernbluff fashion, I just built a new one. So it's pretty stable. So I mean, I've got it up and running. We're testing it, doing the updates and all that fun stuff that goes along with building computers. So
Okay, so that's at the top of your technology list right now.
it's.
The audio and the for this room and
I was hoping to get the trial on today. Just getting the parts in on time has been a nightmare. I had to cancel an order just to reorder it so I can come in tomorrow, because it hadn't been here for the last week. So, yeah.
the price change when you did that?
No, I mean, I got a refund of, it was a monitor that I ordered, and, I paid for it. Didn't get here, sent the email, went through the process, and like, okay, well, just cancel the order a new one, should be here tomorrow, so we'll see what happens. But yeah, like I said, we're trucking along. The last month, last 6 months has been mostly technology and emergency response plan, the EPA, having to deal with our cybersecurity learning curve. I'm learning all sorts of new stuff. So far so good.
And then this room had an attitude.
Yeah.
We don't know why, it's just this room. This room is fine, the big room is fine, something happened in here.
Gremlins?
Gremlins.
Very much so.
Okay, very good. Well, thank both of you. Thank you. All right, let's start getting into the committee stuff. Budget committee, Director Barnes, do we have anything new?
Nothing really new. Just kind of continuing conservative spending, but that's about it.
All right, I know we had a comment tonight, someone talking about what's a portion to our budgeting, like on our, with our landscaper and other stuff. So when
You
that
want me to
stuff,
clarify that?
Yeah, do you mind?
No, I don't mind. What you see in the budget that's out there, the P&L, that is the amount that we budget every year for the routine monthly maintenance of the parks. That's
So that's
their
our budget,
contract.
that's our set aside, that's our targeted amount, basically.
Our plan.
That's what we've
It's not what
contracted
we've
with.
spent, it's what we've
That's
set
right.
aside for
We
this.
also have our capital projects within our budget for, park upgrades, park landscaping, that's all in our capital budget. If you remember the audit, our auditor talked about, all of our capital improvements and such that we did. So those upgrades, like Olson Meadows, let's just use them as an example. That Olson Meadows project, would be under our capital accounts, not in that typical landscaping, P&L general ledger. So that's the difference there. Because we want to make sure, when we go through and we do budget, we know what our contract is. We want to make sure that we're tracking that completely. Now, the one little caveat there is that if it's a maintenance issue that occurs, like an irrigation break, et cetera, that will also be put into that landscape.
Right.
The other ones are capital projects.
Thank you for clarifying that.
You're welcome.
Other than that, I don't really have anything, I don't think, on the budget. We're about a quarter away, I guess, from starting to sit down and look at stuff. Inflation. So when we start talking about employee pay, that's one of the things we're going to have to address. And I don't have any plans. I'm looking at gas prices and everything, and that's one of the things that we need to talk about when we talk budget is are we doing right by our employees as far as pay scale? So I'll just throw that out there now.
Everything is costing more.
Right.
Equipment, parts, everything is costing more. If we can even get it,
Right.
I'm very proud of, very proud of the work that we've done. Once we brought operations in-house, one of the things that Hector and I completely agreed on is always planning for the what-ifs. Because if we were at the mercy of trying to find parts right now, and we didn't have some backstock, we would be in a world of hurt. And we will continue that process forever. That's just the way to do it. If we use one, we're gonna buy two, because inevitably you're gonna need it, I guess only with the things that we've been technology-wise, has there been some issues, but we've been fine. It took us several years, kind of get there and slowly but surely, build up our operation stock, but we're in good stead with that. I should knock on wood, just in case something were to happen. You need a 12-inch clamp, you might be able to find one, you might not, I don't know. But budget-wise, you are correct. Everything is going up.
Yeah, so it's not, we're gonna have to look at what we're spending on other stuff too, and look at it and anticipated price changes and how that affects us.
It's really sad. I mean, just, we budget for vehicle expense. I mean, just our gasoline cost.
Yeah, everything, all that stuff's gonna go up.
It's gone crazy.
So we need to make sure our budget is this really right? We'll just have to go through a pretty
Yeah,
fine-tooth comb
okay.
when we
will.
tackle it, June, July, August, whatever. Okay. All right, roads committee, is there anything else we need to add on roads? No?
I don't have anything. You have anything, Jessica?
No, I was really hoping Commissioner Covey was here tonight. I really wanted to talk to her about some of those challenges, and I do go to the Commissioners Court meetings at least twice a month, so I know some of it's been discussed. We need help here with some of our challenges with the traffic control especially. We don't have the benefit of City of Round Rock police. We do pay extra, and I want to do that, but I'm with you that the county does need to step up because of this project especially. someone's gonna get hurt. I mean, some people have been hurt, but
No, that's
more,
absolutely
more.
right.
And I know Commissioner Covey wanted to come to the February meeting, and then we then push it to this meeting, so
Right,
hopefully
and we
hopefully
confirmed it, so I
reschedule.
don't know, so I'll reschedule
Okay,
it, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting
And
because I
she's
got,
really good. I've talked to her assistant Jessica, and we can easily meet with her also.
Oh, yeah.
well, because I had a question about the new pool certification that I sent to her, and her assistant responded to me and basically said, we'll see you in April. So I was like, well, wait a minute, no, you're coming Monday or Tuesday. Never did get a response from her after that. So there might be some confusion between her assistant and the commissioner.
It'll be fine.
We'll get it straight.
I'll get it rescheduled for April.
Just saying.
Very good.
Stuff does.
All right, let's go to Parks and Recreation Committee. Director Tiber, what do we have, Parks and Rec wise?
Jack Gardner just announced the current status of all of our parks and the status of our parks, so I don't have anything more to add to him.
All right, very good. District Community Center Committee, do we have anything new?
We're just rocking along, got all kinds of bookings, doing well. I have not had a chance to reach out at all about the doors to the community center, so I'll get to that within the next couple of months.
Is there an issue with the door?
Oh, yeah, he missed that.
Oh, you missed it. The construction of this building was not the best. I'll just put it that way. All of the door frames move, especially the front door. The whole, and these wooden doors like we have, I mean, if there was a light outside, you could see that they don't seal. They're not secure. We keep trying to fix them, but some of the doors aren't even, or the door frames are not even attached into the beams that we found. So I think we need to look into removing all of the wood doors and putting in aluminum steel frames in the community center.
Okay.
Because I just don't think we can make this work, and it will be a big project. I'm not saying that it won't.
Well, it'd be big for us, for contractors, it may be too small, maybe
Well,
hard
and
to
that
find
may be
them.
it. Yeah, we'll probably have to book a year
Got a
out.
point there.
But we've done everything we can do to, and we've changed these doors out 3 times because they rot away because of the moisture and all of that. And if we're gonna, protect the integrity of the building itself, we have got to do something about the doors.
All right, get it pressed out, get it done, okay.
Now, I've got a quick question just about the community center real quick, Jamie.
Yes.
One of the things that I have heard about, or I've gotten requests about, is about opening the community center up to some more community activities. Like instead of we've got summer coming up here in a few months, and maybe opening up to like a Mother's Day out. I mean, not babysitting or whatever, but have like different activities for kids to come in and do, like maybe one day a week have an arts and crafts time or something like that. I mean, is that?
We have always encouraged our residents or even instructors to come do the events. We have, right now we've got a little singers class and that type of thing.
Okay.
If you're asking about hiring MUD staff to have a Mother's Day out,
No.
that's probably not really doable in this building, just the way this building is. But we would love more instructors and more classes like that. We've tried them before, and they just never have enough of a enrollment to be successful. Every summer we have like a robotics class, and some of those, we've got some instructors that we've worked with for a number of years, and we do have some of that in the summer. I know what you're saying, I get the same thing, why aren't we more like Brushy Creek? Our building just isn't like Brushy Creek. We don't have the capabilities of doing it like Brushy Creek. none of us were around really when the building was built, but this is what we have, and it's a community center and not a rec center. But I would love that, and if we're gonna put out some information as far as stop signs and stuff, I'll be happy to put that out too. Please come, have your classes, whatever.
Do we charge for them?
We
or do
would love it.
Just allow them to come in if they're residents?
What we've always done before, and, we can revisit it, is that we've just done a split. If, say a person's gonna have a yoga class down here, they keep 80% of the revenue, and they give them a 20% for the use of the space. And it's worked well with some of the classes. I don't think the law would allow us to give it away free. If someone's running a business, quote unquote, holding classes, I don't think the law allows us to do it free, but we can do it very affordably, and do that, revenue split. And that's what our rules state right now. Parks and Community Center. I've been questioned about what some of our rules are for the use of the community center. Like if a resident calls and they say, my church wants to have a picnic at your park. Well, that's one of those very gray areas that really are not so gray, if you know what I'm saying. The church doesn't pay taxes here. The church is not technically a resident of Fernbluff. Now that resident may be a member of that church, as an example, but in a situation like that, just use the park as for instance. If it's a small enough group that we can accommodate, it would be a $75 rental fee, very affordable. Not a free resident fee, just because the resident is calling and making the reservation. Does that make sense? We discourage use of our parks by businesses. Our parks are meant for, our residents and their use. We get a lot of requests for business picnics, and years ago we just found out that it wasn't working. It was too hard to manage. The damage to the parks was terrible. So what we do is there's just a distinction of, if you're a resident, you get a resident rate either here at the center or in the parks. If you're a non-resident, of course you can use our parks, and of course you can use our community center, but you will pay a non-resident fee. Everyone does that. Brushy Creek, resident, non-resident. City of Round Rock, resident, non-resident. I can't go use the Baca Center because I am not a City of Round Rock resident. Well, actually I can, but I just have to pay a higher fee. We're getting more and more requests from the neighborhoods that are coming in around us, like Saul's Ranch. They are City of Round Rock citizens. They're not Fernbluff Mud citizens. And so they would pay a non-resident rate.
So, but we're open to doing that with the split arrangement here at the center, but the parks,
Absolutely.
no businesses at the parks.
Absolutely. And we had, this was several years ago, Cindy would probably know exactly when it is. We tried to do it because we knew some of our residents were doing the exercise class, let's just try and have, yeah, you're doing that. It's exactly.
They put
what-
signs up or something while they were doing the
They
thing?
put sign, and then they refused to pay us. So I don't think our parks are meant, and actually our park policy says you cannot run a business in our parks. You just can't. Now, if a small group of people that work at a company and they want to come and have a Saturday afternoon picnic, of course we will allow them to do that if it's at a park that can accommodate, the number of parking spaces, but they're gonna pay a non-resident rate. They're gonna pay a rental fee for it. We just discourage business use. Actually,
And with some of
we
the
don't allow
business
business use.
use, like an exercise class, they're going to have it at the same time every week. So it's not like a one-time thing. They're going to deny the use of the park to other people, same, hour or two every Saturday morning or whatever.
And that is precisely what made us go back and really look into all of this when we redid the whole park rentals and community center rentals, was that we were getting a lot of complaints from our residents that were saying, I never can get to Olson Meadows Pavilion. You know, I just want to go down there and have a picnic with my kid on a Saturday afternoon, and it's always rented out. So we really looked at it and we were like, our parks are really nice and we irrigate, and that's a big draw. So yeah, it's a tough thing. We want to be good neighbors, but
Right.
we want our residents to have use of their parks.
Fair enough.
There's so many facilities around here that can be rented. City of Round Rock, Cedar Park, there's so many places that we should keep our park for ourselves.
Well, let's use the community center as an example. I mean, we get a lot of non-resident bookings here. We just do. Y'all see the revenues. You see, we get a lot of non-resident rental here, but we do try to limit it. We will not have 4 Saturdays in a month that are all used by non-residents. That's not even fair, because you have to book these things far in advance. I mean, that's gonna have a party. You can't just plan one next week, or at least I can't. And just use May as an example. I mean, it's a graduation in May, June, wedding times. If we don't limit the number of non-residents that use our community center, then our residents will never have an opportunity to. It's just, there's only so many weekends in the year.
All right. Very good. Deed restriction committee, do we have anything new today? No. All right, no business. Security committee, Director Tyler.
Yes, our Williamson County Sheriff served us 89 hours in the month of February, which was very excellent. The officers patrolled many mud neighborhoods and all of our parks. They also conducted traffic enforcement on Brightwater Boulevard, Wyoming Springs, and Brushy Creek, and a few other streets. February was an excellent security service. Very good. So that's all I have.
Very good. Thanks, sir. Communications, Director Smith. I know I need to get with you on a president's
Yeah,
letter
so,
that I've been
yeah.
dragging my feet on, so that's on me.
So we're gonna just whip through a little bit.
All right.
Work on the president's letter.
Rude.
I
And
apologize.
you heard our landscaper talk about a landscape first oriented news article.
That'd be
that we
great.
Put out how to, do's and don'ts, on how to care for your lawn or whatever in this, into the summer. So we've got those 2 items going, and that's it for now.
Okay, related to communications, and this may, hopefully this isn't a sore point. Where are we at with website design and revamp?
Very, very close. We do a little bit of a hickey in it this last week because we were trying to do, it's like every time we get close to launching it and everything, then we make some dramatic change to it, and, yeah, okay. It's coming.
Do you have it in a sandbox yet that I can review it?
Yes,
Can you send me the link sometime?
yes.
Ooh, Mark's gonna eat at the sandbox.
Gotta go play in the sandbox, that's right.
Excellent.
It's a whole new world. And I may not get back to you for a while, because of the time difference.
Ditto.
I'll be in Hawaii, I don't know about you.
Wow, I just feel so bad for you. Going to
I'll send you
Hawaii.
pictures.
No, don't, please. Don't.
In that case, double ditto.
All right, very good. Agenda item 13, lucky number 13, attorney's report.
Nothing to report, Mr. President.
All right, very good.
Quickie.
Next, meeting date set for April 12th. Everybody good? We're all good? Okay. Book it. Agenda item 15, future agenda items. Let's get Valerie Covey, reschedule.
Absolutely.
let's see what you get to about, traffic enforcement at the, Park Valley or remediation stuff, if you're able to break any, ground with some of those people. And we can talk, the Valley Carver's gonna be here next meeting too, we can,
She's exactly who we need to go to. She is our commissioner
Okay,
for
let's
our
do that.
precinct now, so let's
do
go
that.
directly to her and make the request.
okay. I can't think of anything else for future agenda.
Now, I've got a question, possible idea is, can we, I know that we're getting the hooded turn at Smyers and Wyoming Springs, so what if, because I know one of the residents brought up concerns about some of the questions not getting answered from City of Round Rock about the Wyoming Springs extension. Is that something that we want to look into, about getting some of those engineers back out here to talk to us a little bit more about
From the city of Round Rock?
from the city?
Is the Smyers thing, that's gonna be a county project, right?
Oh, you're talking about the one.
Well, I'm talking about the Wyoming Springs
Oh, you're talking Wyoming,
extension,
I beg your pardon.
and,
Okay.
the easement on the parkland and some of the stuff that we haven't gotten answers to yet.
Haven't we been working, hasn't Zach been working with them?
On the parks process, I've been in communication with the city on,
Yeah.
the public hearing
Okay.
process. That would be in communication about, yes ma'am.
Okay.
I don't wanna. The Wyoming Springs extension, I think we've talked about before, it has been on their transportation plan for forever. I did recently find out that the county is giving some funds to the city of Round Rock to build this project. It happens all the time. It may be a city project and they're gonna manage it and whatever, but the county, because it's a benefit to the entire county, uses some bond money and puts some money in. I do think that bringing our concerns to our county commissioner, especially as far as the school, and speed limits and those types of things, that would be a great avenue, and I was hoping we would get to do that tonight.
Right.
Because the county can then have those discussions with the city.
Okay.
Because that's, now y'all heard it too, that's the biggest concern that our residents have, is the increased traffic here at the elementary school. How do we manage that? How do parents manage it? We're a walking school, and so how do we do that? And there are some ideas. We proposed back when Creek Bend was being constructed, we proposed that bypass driveway off of Brightwater through the back of the school that would exit here on Wyoming Springs to get, the kids easily, and give the parents a way to kind of stack up on Brightwater rather than stacking up here on Wyoming Springs. This is a perfect time to bring that back up again, because Wyoming's gonna get that much more traffic. We'd have to get buy-in from the school, we'd have to get buy-in from the city, but that is a very good solution to help with the residents' concerns about the elementary school. That and speed limits, we all hear all the time, it's 4-lane divided, it can be 45. Well, okay, it can be, but, it shouldn't.
But, yeah, should not.
And should we insist that as Wyoming Springs, after it's built, that it doesn't go 45 all of a sudden down to a 20 at the school? Let's have a graduated reduction. Start talking about those types of things. And we'll have a good avenue to do that.
Okay.
We brought those concerns to the city. They well know what they are. But now maybe we can just kind of team up, bud the county and the city, and see if we can get some solutions.
All right, that's it. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn by Director Stepko.
I'll second.
Second by Director Smith, all in favor. Time is 7:21, this meeting is adjourned.